you ever noticed your body falling asleep, but you didn't? Like, your body's fully asleep, body buzzing, heavy, but your mind is still fully aware? That's how my astral projection experience started. I actually wanted to start when I was a kid, after my near-death experience. My sister said, keep journaling, maybe you'll have a lucid dream at the very least, and I did all of that, but all I had was precognitive dreams. That wasn't what I wanted. I'm grateful that I have them, and I learned a lot from them, but I wanted to astral project so that I could experience at least something similar to what my near-death experience was. So I gave up on it for a while. Later on, finally, decided to pick it back up again. I'm glad that I did, because I was beginning to second guess a lot of the information that I was getting in. A lot of my intuition, a lot of information from my guides, God, angels, whatever you want to call them, my higher self, so many different names for the same thing, what most people just call intuition. And I was like, okay, I just want to see for myself. So every night before bed for months, I would keep this strong intention in my mind. I'm going to stay aware while my body falls asleep. And once it happened the first time, it started happening again and again, sometimes by accident. So this whole process really boils down to just one thing: mind awake, body asleep. A lot of people have that mantra for this reason, that if you start to second guess or you start to judge something that you're seeing or that you're experiencing, or you feel any kind of fear and you give into that fear, you kind of have to start all over again, or start from the step above when you started to give into judgment thoughts and all that kind of stuff. So the first step really is deep physical relaxation. And you can lay on your back, because that's really ideal, but I lay on my side a lot because that's more comfy. So relax your body piece by piece, from your toes to your nose. Just kidding, I just wanted to rhyme. Your head, just relax all of your body as much as you can. And eventually you'll start to notice that your body feels heavy, numb, maybe even like it's buzzing. Maybe like if you do this with your fingernails very gently, it kind of feels like that. What I've come to recognize is that that's just my blood moving throughout my body, my own energy moving throughout my body. So it's really nothing to worry about. You're just noticing sensations in your body that you don't normally notice during the day while you're fully conscious. So what's really important is to not move during this experience, because the second that you start to move, it kind of brings you out of this state. However, during the very beginning, if I notice that my mind is just too awake, my body just it's not ready to relax, I start to do the lateral eye movement, LEM, back and forth, back and forth. I use breath retention, breathe in, hold it, breathe out. And you make sure the breath that's out is longer than the breath that you had come in. This lowers your heart rate. This takes your brainwave states down the ladder, helps you relax. If you don't astral project, at least, you're in a meditative state. You're in a state where you can become more creative, get visions, etc. So there is definitely a benefit. And if you're doing breath retention, there's a neurological benefit as well. I do a more deep dive video on the neurological benefits of it. I believe it's actually a short of breath retention. So the lateral eye movement that I previously mentioned, it stimulates both hemispheres of your brain, and you go from a stressed state to a relaxed state of mind and body, just relaxing. The slow or fast pace that you pick for your lateral eye movements mirror your eye movements, your natural eye movements that happen during dreaming. They also spontaneously occur during trance states, deep meditative trance states, or hypnotic states as well. So once your eyes start doing this movement by themselves, you know that you're getting deeper and deeper into the relaxed state of mind and body. Getting closer and closer to the window, where then you can simply be aware of the moment that your conscious self naturally floats out of your physical body. Sometimes you might notice that your eyes want to fall into what is called a trance stare, where your eyes kind of forcefully roll themselves up like this, or they like stare, or they go down, or they want to like cross or something. Just let it happen. Simply be an experiencer of physical sensations and what your eyes are doing. Be an observer. Eventually your body just starts doing everything on its own. At some point you'll notice that you don't need to even tense your side muscles, because some people do that when they're doing the eye movements. They'll tense the appropriate side muscles to just a little bit, just to kind of get themselves into the state of mind that this is happening right now and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to roll my body. I'm just going to roll out of my body. At some point your mind is continually pretending to do that until you actually roll out of your body. Sometimes I use that method, rolling out method, if I'm way too awake. So that helps focus me on what I need to do until I relax enough and I don't need to do it anymore. This is where things start getting interesting. You enter this in-between state, half asleep, half awake, and you might see colors, shapes, random dream fragments. Actually, in this state is where I get my precognitive visions. Having precognitive visions for me it's a spiritual gift, obviously, and everybody has their natural spiritual gifts that come easiest for them. For me, precognitive visions is the easiest thing that comes for me, and it's like a muscle. You need to work it every day. So every morning I will allow myself to enter this trance state, let those visions come in. At first I start to see the colors and the shapes and the weird fragments, and then this orbs of colors and whatever have you suddenly turn into an image, and it plays whatever I'm going to be seeing the next day, the same day, within the hour. Sometimes it's a couple weeks into the future. I had it a couple months into the future. I noticed that if I take a break from my precognitive visions and doing them daily, I have to work back up to being able to see further and further into whatever's going to be happening for sure in my future. I don't really have an explanation for it other than your spiritual gift is a muscle and you have to work it if you want it to become stronger and stronger. So if you've ever experienced the precognitive visions or dream fragments, any sort of insight, information, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'm really curious what other people see and have experienced, because this is my passion, obviously. So a key rule is to observe, don't engage. I often tell myself, no judgment, no fear. It's one of my mantras. Some of my other mantras are mind awake, body asleep. That's a very common one. The one that I do use a lot is no judgment, no fear, observe. Because the moment that you start judging something, your brain wakes your body back up. Judgmental thoughts are easily pushed aside when we repeat our mantra to remind ourselves. Whatever mantra works best for you. You start to feel sensations. You might feel buzzing, electricity, which just is very, again, like this, gentle, not really anything that you need to freak out about, and you're just consciously aware of something that happens naturally every single night. Some people report hearing ringing or almost like a jet engine kind of sound, like that. I've noticed that before, but again, like I said, it's my heartbeat, my blood pumping. This is all very normal. This is your body falling asleep. If you react to it, you start to snap out of it. So if you stay calm, it builds back up. So again, the reminder is that what's actually happening is you becoming aware of a process that your body does every single night. I need to stress this because some people get freaked out, or some people think it's boring, it might take too long. The more and more that you do this, the easier and easier it becomes, because it becomes a practice, a habit, normal. So separation from the body is where a lot of people accidentally make an oops. They accidentally mess up. People think they have to try really, really, really hard. You really don't. So some of the methods are, you can pretend to roll out of your body. Imagine pulling yourself up out of a rope. Imagine pulling yourself out of your body using a rope. Let yourself float out of your body. I've done this when I've had an out-of-body experience, just in a meditative state. Everything went black. I felt the buzzing. I heard the and I realized, oh, my body is fully asleep. My consciousness is awake. I'm still in my body. So I relaxed. When I relaxed, things were a little bit blurry at first, and then suddenly, boom, everything was clear, and I realized my eyes are shut in my body, but I can see. oh, I'm floating right above my body. And I just simply had the intention and the thought that I wanted to stand next to my bed, so I did. When you're in spirit, you can go wherever your thoughts go, and wherever you intend to go is where you will go. Kind of just like moving around as if you had a body, but you don't. In spirit, you can go through walls. So sometimes it can feel like you're falling and then you fall out of your body. That's what it was like for my near-death experience. Everything went black and it felt like I was falling backwards or kind of forwards. I don't know. It just felt like I was falling and I wasn't sure where I was going, but I felt a little bit of fear, and then I felt complete and utter peace, and then I was out of my body. I haven't really had that experience while astral projecting because it just happened so quickly. Maybe it's because I know what it feels like to leave my body, so I don't really pay attention to it. Some people share that it does feel like falling for them sometimes. I think that that's just because they're paying attention to it, or maybe they're leaving their body slowly and their body's just picking up on a sensation. So what's really important to emphasize yet again is it's not effort, it's intention. Everything is intention. You have to want to leave your body, whatever reason you give yourself. Make it really strong that you really want to experience this. It has to be strong enough so that you maintain your conscious awareness as you observe your body falling asleep. So the timing is really helpful. The method that works best for me is waking up after about 4 to 6 hours of sleep, stay awake for a little bit, get out of bed, go to the bathroom, powder my nose, and that seems long enough to wake my mind up, going back to the bed with intentions to stay awake, mind awake, body asleep. At that point, your body will easily fall asleep very quickly, and your conscious mind will continue to be aware. Use sleep paralysis instead of fearing it. Sleep paralysis is actually the perfect state to leave your body. Sleep paralysis isn't something to be afraid of because it's simply your body's way of keeping you protected while you're asleep. So if you dream, you don't act out your dreams in, real time. You're not, trying to walk the lawnmower or something. I don't know. Just a side note on the body falling asleep very quickly, I decided to have some coffee. I don't normally have a lot of caffeine, but my daughter had off of school and I wanted to stay awake to spend time with her, and we finally go to bed. My body fell asleep very quickly, but my conscious mind was still pretty aware of what was happening. I didn't have the intention of wanting to astral project. Suddenly I find myself dreaming, oh, this is a lucid dream. So I go from lucid dreaming to astral projection, and how that transition went was I noticed this white smoke coming in all around. It filled the entire lucid dream. Suddenly I was, boom, right in my bedroom next to my body. Oh, okay, now I'm astral projecting, which is what I wanted to do instead of lucid dream. I prefer to have astral projection experiences. I like to try and stay in contact as directly as possible with what I call the beings of love at night. They're made of white light and they're unconditionally loving. They helped me during my near-death experience. They helped me plan to come back because I really, really wanted to come back and finish this human body experience, because the human body experience gives you a lot of experiences that you can't experience. Saying experience a lot. That you can't experience during being a spirit. Not to get too off track, sorry. Back to leaving the body. Some people have what they call a micro movement trick. You try to move your arm mentally out of your body, start to see your arm lift out of your body. Some people have a target method, which they envision wanting to stand next to their body, stand next to the bed, stand in front of their door. You'll pop out of your body and you'll be standing in front of the door. For the target method, pick somewhere that's close to you, because when you're traveling in spirit, possibly moving at the speed of light, and I only say this because in my experience, I went to the moon. It took long enough for me to be like, this is taking a lot longer to get to this point rather than when I moved from my bedroom to outside. It just came to me one day how fast it takes light to get to the moon. That's about how long that it takes. So just try to pick somewhere close because it's just easier. And it's not like you're popping here to there. You're not popping in and out of existence, because some people try to say, oh, you're teleporting. You're not teleporting. So again, just to reiterate, the biggest mistake that people make is trying too hard. If you believe that it's hard, you're going to make it hard for yourself because there's that mental block that's happening. Once you realize you already leave your body every single night, this is all just about staying aware of what's happening. It becomes natural. Once you're out of your body, everything is really clear. For me, the color and look of things is that everything, the saturation on life is turned up. You can see colors more vividly. And if you desire to see someone's aura, you can. And when you see other spirits, I've seen shadow people, I've seen some weird black spaghetti monster looking thing that was trying to make a deal with me, and I said, no way. What I actually told it was, sorry, I only speak to beings of love and light. And just saying that made this thing wiggle in pain. It pushed me energetically, it pushed me away. So when you're in spirit and you don't agree with someone or you don't want someone around you, your energy pushes them away. You just can't get any closer, you can't interact. You can kind of feel that same feeling when we are around someone that we don't agree with or that we don't really like or that we think is annoying. We feel that, the pushback of, I really want to leave, I don't want to be around this person. So in spirit, you actually push each other away, which is nice because I've met some shadow people that seem a bit parasitic. I've actually had to ask these angels of love and light to come to my sides, help me cut ties with parasitic shadow people, with parasitic souls that were afraid of going to the light. So that was all interesting. And I've got a lot of experiences like that. So I might do another video on that, deep dive, if people actually want to hear it. Other than that, I don't want to overshare too much and I want to get myself back on track here. So as you're leaving your body, like I said, sometimes you'll hear loud noises, sometimes you'll hear beeping, white noise, ringing. I just heard beeping and the white noise, trying to jump back into my body, trying to forcefully wake my body up, which is really annoying, and it takes forever to wake my body back up. It doesn't take forever. It takes minutes for my body to wake up, and it's annoying because my mind is fully aware, but my body is fully in deep sleep mode. Everything's black because I can't open my eyelids, and I'm back in my body, and I'm like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And it wasn't waking up, and so I actually just jumped back out of my body, and I was like, okay, we're doing this again, and I dove back in, slowly and surely. I just focused on wiggle your toes, wiggle your toes, wiggle the toes. And finally, maybe after 30 seconds, I could finally wiggle my toes, but it just took so long because you're just processing things so quickly. Even while you're awake, your mind is constantly scanning your surroundings and processing things very quickly. I bring up this experience because within that experience, I was in my body and I was like, oh, I feel my blood moving in my body, my heart pumping, the blood flowing in my body is just really loud. It's not something I pay attention to every day. It was really interesting to hear how loud it was. So just to touch back on the entities, there is life I argue there's life in every dimension, every layer of reality that is constantly around us. I want to touch back on the spaghetti monster thing. I'm not the only one that's seen it. There was somebody in a Carl Jung group that I was in, drew a picture of it, and I went, aha, you've seen this thing too. They're like, yeah, I was in a meditative state, and I saw this thing trying to wrap its tendrils around planets, and it seemed like a very controlling thing. To me, it came off as like a controlling, helpless, power-hungry, desperate to get anybody and anything in its grasp to manipulate it, because we are free beings, always. Things can try to say manipulative things in the spirit form. In spirit, you see the colors of someone's intentions, you feel their intentions. If you get that feeling when you're in spirit around something like, oh, this might not be good, you think in spirit exactly how you think now. Mainly colors, a way of understanding if something is good or bad. If it's very colorful, it's very light, then you know that it has some good to it. If it's very dark and muddy looking, if it's like a dark, muddy looking red, you know that it's not good. If it's black, you know that it has some sort of tie to this realm. It hasn't balanced out its energy yet. It's a chaotic energy. Well, these are from my own observations and understandings. My friend, as YouTube will only allow me to say, my friend was murdered, and she appeared as a shadow person because she was fearful. She didn't have her energy balanced yet. She hadn't done her life review, and she was really excited that I was the was the only friend in our friend group that could sense her presence and help her. And I know that she comes to visit every once in a while, and she has balanced her energy with her life review. So some of these entities, they feel neutral, some feel off, some are incredibly loving. If you want to be guided, that's exactly what I do. I ask for beings of love and light to come to my side, communicate with me, because after all, that was my intention, communicate with them directly. Something I should mention is that just because you want to astral project and you have done it before doesn't mean that you're going to successfully do it every single time. And that's a sad truth that I have to come to, because sometimes your body just really, really needs sleep to heal itself, and that's okay. However, I should say that during my astral projection experience, while seeing the beings of love and light, every time after a conversation with them, I go back to my body and I wake back up. I feel the most restful sleep I've ever gotten. At least twice now, where I didn't ask for the beings of love and light to come to my sides. I just wanted to explore on my own, and I would go back to my body and I'd slowly wake back up, and I was not as refreshed, not as awake. So I think that's an interesting pattern that I ought to point out too. With astral projection, there can be fear, but once you let go, it becomes really peaceful. To me, astral projection is a shift in consciousness, us experiencing a different dimension, and it really confirms something that I already knew from my near-death experience, and that is, we are not our body. So if you've ever experienced the buzzing, the paralysis, floating, any other spiritual experience, you're a lot closer to this than you think. So please go ahead and tell me your experiences or ask me anything. I'd love to talk about it with you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being curious. Bye-bye.